Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, today I want to talk about security policy automation for the Agile enterprise. All right. I think we have heard a lot throughout the session for the past, since morning till now. Before I go into the details, let me introduce what Tufin does. All right. We are a security policy company. So what Tufin does is that basically we want to help customers understand their security policies to gain the visibility into all the security policies that they have in their network environment. So the basic thing that we want customers to achieve is to understand, what can talk to what, who can talk to who in their network environment. All right. So in the Tufin orchestration solution itself, the Tufin orchestration suite, we have 4 different solutions. Right. So as you can see, under the enterprise IT for on-prem, we have the secure track solution that manage the firewalls policies, the security policies on your network devices. We have secure change that actually perform network security change automation. Secure app that allow users to model the application connectivities in the network environment and understand the security policies, how the security policies is going to be implemented in the network environment. And with today's customers' network environment, cloud is inevitable, right? We have different cloud platforms, AWS, Microsoft, Azure, Google Cloud. So Tufin also have secure cloud to help customers manage their security policies in their cloud environment. So what Tufin does is that you can actually see at the bottom here, we have the collectors and provisioning engine that actually talks to the various platforms, the network devices, the firewalls, the routers, switches, the cloud security group policies, pull in this information, and then we're going to analyze those security rules that we have captured. And then from there, administrator will be able to perform their cleanup activities. They can also perform their change automation on the activities using this information that's collected. Right. On the top, we have the enterprise application. So this is for the secure app to model all the different applications that the customers may have in their network environment. I'm going to go into details later about that. All right. But what is nice is that you can see Tufin orchestration suite itself provide customers with full visibility, full control on the security policies. And you can see we integrate with our own Tufin marketplace. We integrate with third-party solution, scripting and automation tools to help customers automate the security policy change. So let's look a little bit details on what each of these modules does, right? Secure track, the firewall and security policy management solution. So I mentioned about visibility. That's the most basic thing. That means we capture the configuration of the security policies. We help users analyze those rules to understand, what are the rules that is redundant, that can be removed from the firewalls, right? But what is also nice is that we allow administrators to create a unified security policies that can actually enforce across all the security rules in their network environment. Right. And with these unified security policies that's been defined, Tufin perform real-time compliance and audit check on all those rules. That means every time a rule has been changed, has been modified, Tufin is going to run the automated compliance check on the rule. All right. The other thing that is also nice with Secure Track is that whenever we monitor devices, we create a network topology to help administrator understand from a source to a destination, the path that it took, which are the firewalls, which are the routers that has access control list along the path. And then we can actually help the administrator establish or perform troubleshooting very quickly just by running a path analysis using the Tufin tools. Secure Change is the change automation tools. So what Secure Change does is that it actually takes the information that we have in our Secure Track and then help users to perform their network change automation. So you can actually imagine it is like a change ticketing, your ITSM solution, right? But what is nice is that this ITSM solution focuses purely on the firewall policies and the security rules on your network device. So when a user submit a change request, if I say, let's say for example, I say I want to go from this source to this destination, right, on these services or this port, I put it into the secure change. What Secure Change is going to do now is that we're going to analyze this information and automatically tells the firewall administrator or the security administrator for this particular change, which are the firewall, which are the routers that we need to go to make the change. And then Tufin is also going to run the rule design. We're going to design the rule for the administrator and show the administrator this is the recommended changes on the security devices. And what is also nice here is that after we do our change design, if the users are happy with the recommendation, they can simply click on a button, and Tufin is going to make the change for the administrator. So the administrator don't have to go to the firewall, don't have to go to the routers to make any changes on the security policies itself. All right. So this is just a basic of adding of rule with our automation tools. We can also do things like firewall cleanup automation. That means if you look at a rule, after we analyze and we see that, all right, this rules is a rules that we don't have to keep on a firewall. Then what I can do is just by simply clicking on a button, I can submit a change request into Secure Change. Secure Change is going to do the removal of the rule automatically for me. So I don't have to go through the time-consuming process of going to the firewall, identify which firewall to make the change, identify which rule to make a change, and then delete the rule. So this actually helps to reduce human error. All right. I mentioned also on Secure App. So Secure App is very interesting. What it does is that with Secure App, we allow application users, the application owners, working together with the security teams to define their application connection. So I may have application A running in my environment, for example. Right. For this particular application, I may have multiple connections. I can say that application A need internet access. My users need to access to my application A. My application A needs to connect to an AD server, for example. So there's multiple connections that's been defined. So what is nice here is that Tufin allows administrators to create this application connection in the system, and then we're going to analyze that information for the administrator. We're going to tell them whether does the firewall has this rule implemented on the firewall already, or if the rules are not clearly defined. Tufin can actually help me perform an application discovery. We can actually help to discover what are the additional source IP, destination IP, or the service ports that need to be added onto the firewall rule. So this actually helps and streamline, right, the operation for the application users and the network security teams. Because I believe if you talk to your customers, you will see a lot of customers will say their number one challenge is that the application teams and the security teams are always not in sync. All right. Application guys doesn't know what they need. The security teams need to understand what application teams want. But there's no single platform to bridge that communication gap. And this is where Secure App comes in to help customers bridge that gap. For the cloud environment, we have Secure Cloud. So Secure Cloud also gave us the visibility, understanding of how all our different application or the services that is in the cloud, how they are connected together, right? And also the security policies, the network security groups or the security group policies, how are they defined? And what is also nice here is that with Secure Cloud, we allow the security admin or the DevOps to define their security policy guideline. I can put in a cloud compliance policy to say that, all right, these are the set of rules that we're going to allow in our cloud environment. If the DevOps team spin up a new instance and the security group policies doesn't comply with this set of policies, I want to be notified about that immediately. So this is what Tufin will do. Once we have that defined, we're going to do a constant check on the security group policies, and we notify the administrators, the DevOps securities, or the security teams on any compliance issue that has been detected. All right. So these are the four main products, but we also have our Tufin marketplace that we actually work with multiple vendors and our professional services solution to provide additional functionalities to the solution itself. So down here are some examples, right, from our Tufin marketplace. You can see we have security operation and incident response where we integrate with Rapid7, Tenable, Qualys, vulnerability assessment solution. It can be integrated with ITSM, it can be integrated with SOAR, change automation solution, application discovery solution, network segmentation solution. So I'm going to give one example on our marketplace app integrating with a vulnerability assessment solution, and how we can actually do change automation with that. All right. So in our marketplace, we have these two different apps, vulnerability mitigation app and vulnerability-based change automation app. So let's look at vulnerability mitigation app first. Basically, what vulnerability mitigation app does is that Tufin takes in the information from the vulnerability scanner, right? If customers perform a VA scan, the VA scan presented a report and say that, all right, there are specific assets, these are the assets that's in the network that has vulnerability, all right? What Tufin will do is that we take this information, we look at all the security policies in the network to identify what are the rules, which firewall are having a rule that is allowing access to that specific vulnerable asset. So this actually helped the network administrators, the security admin, to quickly prioritize what they should do. Like for example, right, should I patch the server immediately? If I can't patch the server now, right, should I go to the firewall and turn off access to these specific IP addresses? So if I need to turn off the access to these specific IP addresses, which are the rules? Tufin is going to run that information and show administrator, these are the rules, which are the firewalls that's having this rule in the network environment. So by simply clicking on a button, I can submit a change request into secure change and say that, add this rule, remove, either I want to temporarily disable the rule, I want to remove the rule, or I want to add that specific asset into a block list. So this is what the vulnerability mitigation app can actually help users understand. All right. So of course, we can actually do the reverse thing, right? After I do my vulnerability scan and I find that the asset, the vulnerability has been removed, then I can say I want to go back to the system again, right? Remove that specific IP address from the block list. Then we'll put in our change automation request and allow Tufin to push the rule down to the firewall. All right. Another one is the policy automation with the on-prem network example. This is one example where users submit a change request, right? Just now the example is the firewall rules are already created on the firewalls, right? And we found that that particular asset has vulnerability. So we want to do our prioritization. We want to make sure that we protect the network environment. Now, another example here is that when a user submit a change request, so you can imagine if I'm a user, I put in a change request. I say I want to go from source A to destination B. So we have a change process that can be defined in our secure change solution. This process here is fully customizable. As administrator, I can define what are the steps that I need to do. So for example here, I put in a change request. In my second step, I said I want Tufin to perform a risk analysis check for me. So this is where Tufin will run a unified compliance check, unified security compliance check. This unified security compliance is actually defined, is a user-defined compliance that can be stored in our secure track solution. And we can also pull that information from the vulnerability change, from the vulnerability scanner. So we actually pull those information in and we'll present this information to the security admin. We'll actually show them that, all right, for this particular rule, is there any risk identified? So if there's no risk, we can continue with the firewall technical rule design, the review, and then implementation of the firewall rules. If there is a risk, if we have identified the risk, then we can quickly stop that rule. We can prevent the rule from being implemented onto the firewall itself. All right. So this is one example, a very simple example of performing compliance check, risk check before a rule is being implemented in your network environment. So what happened to the hybrid cloud environment or the hybrid IT infrastructure where I have my on-prem and my cloud environment? All right. So what Tufin wants to do is we want to help customers extend the automation into cloud. Okay. So we have the network security teams that's actually using Tufin to manage all the on-prem security policies. Right. Today, a lot of customers, their number one challenge is that how can they manage the security policies effectively in the cloud environment, right? Because security policies in the cloud or in a hybrid environment can be very, the segregation of duty can be very blurred, right? We may not be able to correctly identify who is responsible for that. Let's take a look here, for example. This is a typical hybrid environment. We have our data centers, our hub, and our resources in the cloud environment. So if you look at it, the data center, we definitely know that this is our on-prem, right? But the hub and my different business unit here, they are sitting in my public cloud. So which team, the security team, which part of the network belongs to the security team, which part of the network belongs to the DevOps teams, right? Sometimes we look at it, we may think that, all right, the security teams manage the data centers. The DevOps is responsible for the public cloud environment. But this is not true. In actual fact, this is actually what it looks like. The network security teams manage the data centers, right, and the hub, the connectivities that's between the cloud and the on-prem environment. And then the DevOps teams manage the resources in the cloud environment only. All right, so you can see now there's two teams in terms of security policies. There's two different teams that actually they are managing these security policies. So it's very difficult to make sure that all these security policies are, it's being enforced correctly and it complies with the organization requirement. So we know for cloud processes, right? This is a typical for the DevOps teams. This is a typical way of them implementing their cloud information. They use things like Terraform, right, or for the infrastructure as a code, and then also the CI/CD pipelines to deploy all their workload in the cloud environment. All right. So example over here, the DevOps process, right? You can see the users uses Terraform, and then for CI/CD, they can use Cloud Build and then push all the information to the cloud vendors or deploy it in the cloud vendors itself. So how can we enforce compliance or security rules to make sure that it complies with organization requirement with this process itself? This is where Tufin comes in, right? Tufin, we actually provide customers with a CI/CD API. So this is like, we talk about shift left, right, in security. So as part of the CI/CD, there's a pre-deployment integration with the Secure Cloud API. So this is how it looks like. The security team define a security policies inside Secure Cloud, all right? And then when the DevOps teams is going to deploy their workload, what they can do is that now they actually write the codes, the changes that's needed for the IACs, according to the business needs. They submit that, it goes into the CI/CD, right? The CI/CD pipeline. So the CI/CD pipeline runs the change, and then before it's being pushed, it calls the API into Tufin Secure Cloud to get Tufin to perform a compliance check. And if there's any risk that's been highlighted, any violation that's been highlighted, we can immediately correct that problem, all right? So if there's no risk, then we can let the solution continue to go and deploy all the workloads in the cloud environment. So you can see, this actually helps DevOps take proactive action against how risky or security violation in their cloud environment. All right. So with that, you can actually see Tufin actually extend automation into the cloud environment. With the Tufin solution, now you can actually cover your on-prem security policies and also your cloud security policies. All right. So why Tufin? All right, because we give customers consistent security policy enforcement across their on-prem, their cloud network, and hybrid cloud network. All right. Users will gain end-to-end visibility. The solution is open and customizable. We can actually integrate with any third-party solution. All right. So it gives users automation functionalities like automatic deployment of rules, automatic rule design, right? Firewall rule cleanup automation, and all this comes most importantly with an accurate end-to-end change design. The solution can actually design the change accurately for the customers. All right. So here is a short screenshot of our partner ecosystem. So you can actually see Tufin work with multiple vendors, different kind of vendors, different partners to provide customer with a comprehensive solution for their security policies. All right. And lastly, I want to talk about, we also provide professional services. So if you are in a project with a customers, especially on automation, and if you need help, right, Tufin can actually provide professional services to help you come up with a solution for customers. Right? Thank you very much. If you guys have any questions, feel free to go out. We have a booth outside, and we can actually chat about it. Thank you.